Well, greetings, Ames Chamber of Commerce members. Dan Culhane here with Representative Rob Bacon, representing District 48 here in Story County. Rob, great to see you today.
Well, good to see you too. I trust you had a great Christmas time and looking forward to a new year.
It was really good and absolutely looking forward to a great 2021.
I think we all are.
Indeed.
I saw where first minute of 2021, we'll all look back with perfect 2020 vision.
I've heard that, yeah.
I hope it's true.
I do too. Hey, we're going to take about 15 minutes here today and give Ames Chamber of Commerce members a little update from your perspective, Rob, on the upcoming 2021 session. I'll kick it off by kind of combining the first two questions I had shared with all of our legislators, which was, one, what should members of the chamber expect from the 21 session? And at the same time, what are your personal aspirations for going back to the legislature for 2021?
Okay, very good question. I think Ames Chamber needs, I shouldn't say needs, they just, their expectations are what everybody is, I think, right now. I'm hoping, and one is, first thing we're going to have to look at are our COVID challenges, wrapping up this crisis, if I can call it that way. But I think with the new vaccines coming out, people are going to feel more safe and get out. And with that, then we can begin to open up our businesses. And I'm hoping that we can open up all the businesses again as soon as possible with no masks and no social distancing, where we can just get back to, hate to use the term normal, but I think people are ready to get back to our regular lives again. And again, also then we'll be talking about budget this year when we get back. We came through the crisis pretty good, but we never know how things are really going to be. The REC in December, kind of encouraging numbers, but for everything we've gone through. But I do, we're going to have to watch it when the March numbers come out and see exactly where we are. We'll also be looking at mental health funding, especially with children's mental health, and how are we going to be setting this up? Are we going to set up regions and things like this with kids? I serve on the mental health committee, or not the mental health committee, but human resource committee. And that's one of the big issues we'll be discussing this year too. I want to remind people too that our education budget and our our Medicare budget, Medicaid budget, is 82% of our total budget, which leaves 18% of the remaining funds to finance everything else. And then also, what am I wanting to do? I chair the Natural Resource Committee in the House. And one of the things we'll be looking at this year, and I'm hoping to work with the Ag Committee on this, so we can work side by side on this, and that's looking at soil quality. For years, Dan, we've been looking at water quality and all the issues there. We're discovering, I shouldn't say discovering, it's being brought to our attention that water quality actually starts in our soil and the carbon makeup of our soil and all. And we're not talking just the farms, but we're talking in town, our lawns, or anywhere you see soil, just need to protect that. So it's a good quality soil. It's not so much that it's washing away, but it can absorb a lot more water, especially in floodplains, if we have the right chemical mixture in that. Then I also serve on the Human Service Committee, and I mentioned earlier that we'll be looking at mental health things, and especially one of my concerns are our rural hospitals. Not only do I represent parts of Story County, but I have all of Hamilton County, the eastern part of Boone County, and a little bit of Webster County. Very rural areas, and healthcare access, especially the critical access hospitals, very important to these communities and to these counties here, Dan. And then also state government, I serve on that committee, and I have a feeling we'll be looking at tying up, I shouldn't say it that way, but just making sure that our electoral process is secure. I know we're going to be discussing that, how make sure that we are secure, and if not, where do we need to tie it up, and how can we make it more secure? And then finally, this is what I'm excited about. For years, I've heard that we don't have internet access in a lot of our communities. or it's very slow. And this year in the House of Representatives, we have a new committee, and it is, well, I'm just going to call it the Broadband Committee. And I asked to be put on that. And much to my surprise, they put me on it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do to bring broadband not only into our rural areas, but how can we expand it, especially into our schools, into our care centers, our hospitals, and especially now, well, even this meeting being a Zoom meeting, thank goodness for internet and broadband. And there are some people who still can't do this in our areas. I have an area up in Hamilton County that still cannot get plain old internet service. So with that, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do statewide with broadband. And I think the governor's plan to invest in Iowa is going to tie into this. There will be funding for this once we get our policy set. And I'm hoping there will be funding for it, Dan. So that's where we're at this year. That's it's going to be a busy year. And I'm just looking forward to getting back down there and getting to work.
Yeah. Well, you know, Rob, you touched on a number of things there that are issues for the Ames Chamber of Commerce that, or I should say, are priorities. And if you go to ameschamber.com, you'll see a whole listing of those priorities. But, you know, first and foremost, the pandemic has proven that working from home can be challenging if you don't have adequate broadband and adequate internet service. And so I'm glad you mentioned broadband the way you did. And more specifically, with the district and with your district and the area you serve, you've got high quality telephone cooperative providers that are working hard to deploy more service to those most rural parts of our counties and our communities around central Iowa. And so talk a bit about how the independent telephone cooperatives can be useful in that process of deploying further broadband.
Okay, so this is something I'm going to be learning, Dan.
Sure.
I talked earlier, a few years ago, with over at Ziering, the gentleman over there. I can't think of his name right now, but he was talking about just the expansion of it and what it would need. And of course, since then, everything has changed. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be learning a lot about this and what they're going to need. They'll come in and they'll testify as to what they're going to need to help get this passed. And you're right, we have a lot of great telephone cooperatives around here. And we just want to make sure we can help them. And to be honest with you, I can't answer your question straight up right now. I'm going to need a lot more information on that to find out what they do need.
Sure, and I could have phrased that differently because I didn't expect you to have all the inside baseball on that. But I guess my point was, you know, you certainly know these people. I think there'll be tremendous resources going forward as you and other legislators educate yourselves on how best to deploy that service. So I'm really encouraged, though, that you are enthused about deploying further broadband into our most rural parts of our communities.
I also want to say the gentleman who's going to be chairing that committee is Representative Losey from Bondurant. And he's been working on this for, well, I know all during the interim here, all summer and fall. So I'm anxiously waiting to see what he has found out. And then when we all get together and discuss what we need, I tell you what, I think this is probably one of the, well, this and economic development and everything. Well, every committee down there works like this, but this is the future of Iowa right now, this broadband.
Yeah, there's a real opportunity for collegiality here, and I'm glad to hear you talking about that. You mentioned Invest in Iowa, and you mentioned your committee chairmanship on
natural resources.
Natural resources. You know, it's interesting, this pandemic, I joked the other day that going over to Legis State Park was like going to a shopping mall in the last 9 months. It's been so busy over there, it was hard to find a parking place some days. And I think it's, in that regard, it's a silver lining because it's really showcased and illustrated the great infrastructure our state has for outdoor recreation. But there's more we can do as a quality of place and quality of living. Amenities are so important to our communities. Talk about some of the things, you talked about soil quality, but talk about some of the other things that committee might do or you might think about to enhance at least your district and other parts of the state.
Okay, well, I want to go back. You hit on our state parks, and our state parks are just a hidden treasure, seriously. And this past year with the pandemic we closed them down for camping at first, and then we could open them back up. And we discovered that once we opened these state parks up for camping, they were full. My wife and I, we have a little camper, and we wanted to go several places. And my goodness, you couldn't find a place anywhere on the weekend. They were all reserved and taken up. And this year we have been working on, it was the 100th anniversary of the state parks. Had some celebrations and really couldn't do those due to social distancing. But like I said, these are hidden treasures in Iowa. And we have one over here in Ledges, just outside of my district. The other one just outside of my district is Pine Lake. But we also have a lot of good county conservation areas too. Going back to your soil quality, it's a carbon, the carbon element that needs to be present in the soil, and which helps with, it just makes a great quality dirt. And so that's where we are with that. Go ahead. I was just gonna talk to you a little bit about Chamber. I don't know if they'd have any interest in our chronic wasting of diseases or not, you know, with the deer. But what we do have is a fantastic lab in Iowa, at the Iowa Vets Lab for diagnostic, just to diagnose things. How do you like that, getting out of it? And we were there last October when they opened up the soil to start that building this spring. And you talk about economic development for not only the college, but for this part of the state with that. This will be one of the best, if not the best, diagnostic lab in the entire United States, or I dare say even the world. So I'm looking forward to seeing that being built here too.
Representative Bacon, that's a great point. The diagnostics laboratory that's under construction is a huge win for the College of Veterinary Medicine and Iowa State University, but for our state, because it does attract a lot of economic benefit, not only to just the community here, the immediate community, but the state as well. And so we're certainly grateful to the legislature for the investment you're making in that facility.
It's a good investment all the way around. And I tell you, that was bipartisan too. I want that, you know, it's just.
Yes, it was. It really was. And that was terrific. Along the lines of funding, you know, I often share with people that Ames in particular is a company town. That company is Iowa State University. As the university goes, so goes Ames, and by and large, the rest of Story County. As you think about the 21 session, whether it's Iowa State and our regional institutions, whether it's Des Moines Area Community College, which is a powerful economic development partner too, or our K-12 systems, how do you think they'll fare financially in the 21 session?
We were discussing that the other day. There won't be any cuts. I can tell you that right now. We don't know what the percentage of increase is going to be yet, because we're still waiting to hear some of the COVID relief packages coming in as to where that's going to be at the state. Now, not that these are tied into COVID, but it all balances out there. And we need to see where our March numbers are going to be. I won't give you a percentage. I'd love to just kind of throw a figure out there, but I can't back it up anywhere. But I do know that I have this gut feeling that we will be increasing K through 12 again, as always. And by the way, the last 10 years, it's been almost $980 million new dollars K through 12, plus giving K through 12 flexibility in their spending too, with some of the silos that we have. And we'll be looking at even taking away some of those silos, or shouldn't say taking away, but giving them more flexibility within, so that if you need tires per se in a bus, you've got the money for it.
Sure.
Regions, that's the question. I really can't give you an idea on yet. I know our community colleges will be a very receive support, and I do know too that the regencies will receive support, but how much, Dan, I don't know.
No, I can appreciate that before the
as far as the financial
conference in March. I understand that. I understand. So historically,
but I want it understood. It's you know, we've got 59 Republicans in the House, And every one of us supports education, the regents, and community colleges.
That's good to hear. Thank you. A little lighter question for you here. Ames and Story County Day at the Capitol is slated for April 1st.
Yes.
Of course, we had to postpone it in 2019. What are the odds that we will have that in person with our friends from Hickory Park on April 1?
The worst it's going to be is a 50-50 chance right now. But we either do or we don't, right?
Right.
Every one of us, all 150 legislators look forward to Ames Day. And it's more than Hickory Park that we look forward to, let's be honest, but Hickory Park is an excellent draw for you. We're looking forward to it. Now, whether or not how many people are getting the vaccine, where we are with the COVID, that's all it's going to come down to. If the COVID is all of a sudden gone, you're coming down. And if you're not, I'm coming up to get you.
Fair enough. Well, you know, it is important for us, and clearly we know it's more than just a great lunch that we provide, but it is important for our business community and the university and others to come to Des Moines and sit in the rotunda of the Capitol and express gratitude, because the impact the state budget and the state legislature has on this community is significant. And so that's never lost on us. And that's why we've always felt it was important to go down there, showcase a lot of the industries that are located in Ames, and talk to the legislature and express gratitude and show how that money is being invested back in our community.
Exactly. Your business park is fantastic and great representation when you come down to that Ames Day.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, just few years ago you were there, Ames, and there was a little squeegee type thing given out for toothpaste squeezing. I don't know if were you around then, Dan, or not.
I was, yeah.
I don't know what company made that. It was just kind of a little side thing that they came up with. Best product on the market, in my opinion. Plus, the Ames has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the state.
Yeah.
And when you start bragging that and need workers, skilled workers, that falls on our ears. And we are doing everything we can, not only for Ames, but for the state to get skilled workers.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we have to work together on that. It's properly incenting companies to locate here, but it's also about tax structure. It's also about livability and investing back in our communities. It's a whole host of things. And lucky for you, the legislature gets to tackle all those things every year when you head back to Des Moines.
I don't know if I would use the word lucky, but we are definitely tasked with that.
Indeed.
Lucky is when you guys come down and you bring Hickory Park.
Here's an easy one, Rob. As we enter the session, how is it best to contact you? If chamber members want to contact Representative Rob Bacon, what's the best way to do that?
Okay, there are two ways. One is the email, rob.bacon@legis.gov.iowa. And the best way to reach me, here's my phone number. Don't call me, just leave a text, because if I don't recognize the number during session, it doesn't get answered. But my number to text me is 515-460-8885. Once again, 515-460-8885. And then, of course, there's always the snail mail, and that would just be my address, P.O. Box 485, Slater, Slater, Iowa, 50244.
Very good. Very good. Rob, any parting comments before we wrap this up today?
I just want to say the last 10 years serving in the Senate and then in the House has just been an honor for me. Just being a funeral director in two little small towns in Iowa and everything, coming out and learning new things, such as this broadband and everything else. It's just been an honor, but it's been an honor to serve, to represent the people of Iowa in the House of Representatives. And to be honest with you, I'm very humbled to be down there and representing the people. So again, I want to thank everybody. And again, if you have questions, feel free to contact me at any time.
Very good. That's Representative Rob Bacon from District 48. Rob, thank you so much for your time today, and all the best for a great 2021 legislative session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay. Good stuff, Rob.
Oh, thank you.